Welcome to our deep dive into the future of tech. We're going to explore some predictions from over 50 partners at Andreessen Horowitz, the venture capital firm. You know them, they're known for spotting what's next. So think of this as a sneak peek into 2025 and beyond. AI, space exploration, the future of work, even crypto. Something for everyone.
What's really interesting is they go beyond the usual hype. They're not just looking at the newest gadget. It's more like analyzing trends, right? Connecting the dots to see how tech could reshape our world. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so let's jump right in. They have this section, American Dynamism. Bold predictions about how the U.S. will stay on top in tech. One that really surprised me is this revival of nuclear energy. And the reason. The energy demands of AI.
Yeah, you might think nuclear, really. But when you think about the sheer scale of energy to train and run these massive AI models, it's a huge challenge. They actually think nuclear power could be a big part of the solution, especially with all the safety and efficiency improvements.
And it's not just theoretical. They actually point to the example of 3 Mile Island. Remember that nuclear accident back in the 70s? Well, it's coming back online in 2028, powered by data centers.
Wow. That's a powerful symbol of how the energy landscape is changing. Who would have thought?
Exactly. It really shows how something we thought was outdated could become relevant again. But American dynamism isn't all about energy. They also dive into the future of jobs. And good news, it's not all coding.
Yeah, no kidding, right.
They're predicting a huge need for engineers and technicians who can bridge this gap between hardware and software. Think about it, robots everywhere, right? Someone has to design, build, maintain them, train them even. That's a whole set of skills beyond just the software side.
It makes sense, though. More and more robots working with us in every industry. Someone has to make sure they're doing things right and safely. Lots of new opportunities there.
It's like a new industrial revolution. But this time, robots and AI are taking center stage. And get this, they predict we might start sending data centers into space, even biomedical labs, all thanks to advancements like SpaceX's Starship.
It sounds kind of crazy, like science fiction, but when you consider the cost of launching things into space is going way down, it actually makes sense. Data centers in orbit could provide faster access to information for remote areas. Biomedical labs in microgravity, that could lead to breakthroughs we can't even imagine right now.
Mind-blowing. But back here on Earth, they see a major shift in defense. Decentralized decision-making right there on the battlefield. Autonomous drones, AI-powered systems making those split-second choices.
This is where AI's ability to process information so fast and adapt really comes in. They think future conflicts will be less about central command and more about these networks of intelligence systems making decisions in real time.
It's kind of a scary thought, but it shows how AI is already changing things in the military.
It definitely raises some big questions about ethics, too.
Right.
Like when an AI makes a life or death decision, who's responsible? Those are things we need to figure out.
For sure. Now for something less intense, XR. Extended reality. You know, those VR headsets. They think XR is moving beyond just being a cool gadget and becoming a vital tool for developers to build real-world applications.
I can see that. Think about the potential for fields like architecture or engineering, even healthcare. They can visualize data in whole new ways. An architect walking through a virtual building before it's built. A surgeon practicing a complicated surgery on a virtual patient.
Yeah. They specifically mention Apple's Vision Pro and Meta's Orion. But the point is, XR is becoming more about practical uses, not just games and fun.
As the hardware gets better, and the software too, we're going to see a ton of innovation in how we use XR to solve real problems.
Yeah.
That's something to watch.
This next one's all about data, something we all rely on. They say we have a ton of Earth observation data from satellites, but the challenge is turning it into something commercially valuable.
It's like we have all this information, but we don't know what to do with it. All these satellites collecting tons of data about our planet. The key is finding ways to make sense of it. Get some insights from it and translate that into solutions businesses and organizations can use.
Right, like helping supply chain managers track things or urban planners to design better cities, even assist first responders during disasters. Huge possibilities. But we need the right tools to unlock all that value.
It really is like a puzzle. We have all the pieces, but we need to figure out how to put them together to see the bigger picture.
Speaking of puzzles, back to robots. They think the next phase for robotics is moving beyond just collecting data. It's about setting benchmarks and evaluating how safe they are in tough environments.
It's like this. Robots are already good at gathering data. Now we need to use that data to make them smarter, safer, and more reliable, especially in situations that would be dangerous for humans.
So instead of just factories, think robots being tested in like disaster zones, construction sites, maybe even underwater. a real-life obstacle course for robots.
Exactly. And all that data from those tests is going to be crucial for building the next generation of robots that can handle the real world, really pushing the boundaries of what robots can do.
Now, this last one might be new to you. It's free space optical communications. Have you heard of this?
I have. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Basically, transmitting data with light beams. It can handle way more bandwidth than traditional radio frequency methods, like fiber optic cables, but without the cables.
They say it's all driven by this crazy demand for bandwidth, especially in telecommunications and defense. Imagine downloading movies in seconds or sending tons of data across continents with almost no delay.
And it's more secure, too. Since it's using light, it's harder to intercept, so the military really likes it. It's definitely a tech to watch.
Wow, that was American dynamism. Just a glimpse of what Andreessen Horowitz sees for the future. Ready to dive into the next section?
Absolutely. What's next? I'm really curious about what they have to say about the future of bio and health. It's an area where technology is already making a huge impact, especially things like AI and how those cutting-edge technologies will be applied to real healthcare challenges.
Well, they start off by saying big is back in biopharma, which might seem kind of weird in this age of like personalized medicine, but what they mean is there's this renewed focus on tackling common diseases, and it's fueled by some breakthroughs that could impact millions of people.
Oh, that's interesting. For a while, it seemed like the focus was all about those super specialized therapies for rare diseases or, tailoring treatments to individual genetic profiles. So what's driving this return to tackling more widespread health issues?
They point to the success of GLP-1 drugs for diabetes and obesity. These drugs had amazing results helping people manage weight and blood sugar, and they're expecting them to create this massive market by 2030. So it's kind of reinvigorated the whole field of cardiometabolic diseases, which affect a huge chunk of the population.
Makes sense. The potential to impact millions of lives with one treatment, that's huge, both for researchers and investors. It's a reminder that innovation isn't always about the most complex solution. Sometimes it's taking a fresh look at what we already have and finding ways to make it better.
Right. They actually highlight this story about a German physician, Dr. Georg Schett. He used TUR-RT cell therapy, which is usually used for certain cancers, to treat autoimmune diseases, lupus, arthritis. It's really thinking outside the box.
And get this, he got incredible results. Every single patient in his study saw significant improvement. Some even said it was like hitting a reset button on their immune system. It really shows what can happen when you're curious and willing to challenge the status quo. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come from looking beyond the obvious.
Absolutely. And speaking of new possibilities, they also talk about tech's role in democratizing healthcare, giving people more control over their own well-being, empowering them with information and tools so they can make informed decisions about their health.
We're seeing this trend everywhere, this move toward transparency and individual empowerment. In healthcare, it's especially important because it means people can take a more proactive role in managing their health, not just reacting when they get sick. So what kind of tech are they talking about here?
Things like AI-powered blood analysis, rapid, accurate diagnoses from just a blood sample, wearable devices that track everything, heart rate, sleep, blood sugar, activity levels. They even think accessible full-body screenings could become common, catching potential problems early.
Wow. Those tools could completely change how we approach healthcare. Instead of waiting for symptoms, we could monitor our health in real time, identify issues before they become serious. It's like shifting from reactive to proactive.
Exactly. And their argument is this could lead to a healthcare system that's more focused on prevention, keeping healthy people healthy, not just treating the sick. It's about health optimization.
I like that. It's a compelling vision. And with all the advancements in AI, sensors, and data analytics, it's becoming more achievable. By empowering people with these tools, we could create a much healthier society.
Of course, they don't ignore the challenges facing healthcare, the staffing crisis, for example. But they believe AI could be a solution there, too.
Now, that's interesting. How can AI help with that when healthcare workers are already so overwhelmed?
They talk about superstaffing, where AI could automate routine tasks and make the workforce more efficient. It's like having a virtual assistant for every doctor and nurse, freeing them up to focus on the more complex stuff, the patient-centric care, the critical decisions.
So instead of mountains of paperwork, scheduling appointments, all that data entry, they can spend more time with patients, providing personalized care. It's about using AI to make them even better at what they do.
Exactly. And it's not just admin stuff. AI can analyze medical images, help with diagnoses, even personalized treatment plans. It's humans and machines working together for better outcomes.
It really could be the answer to this staffing crisis. Integrating AI into the workflow to lighten the load on healthcare professionals and improve the quality of care, making the whole system work better for everyone, patients and providers.
Now get ready for a prediction that's a bit out there. They say drug targets are avocados. It's a weird analogy, I know, but it kind of sticks with you.
Avocados and drug development, I'm curious, what's the connection?
They're talking about timing in drug development. Finding a promising drug target is like waiting for an avocado to ripen. Too early, it's no good. Too late, and you've missed your window.
Uh-huh. So you have to find that perfect moment when it's just right for development. But how does this apply to startups in biopharma? How do they find the avocado at the right time?
They say startups need a secret weapon, a unique insight or approach that gives them an edge. It's finding that perfect avocado, the target that's ready, and then having the expertise and resources to develop a treatment before anyone else.
So it's not just about the target itself. It's about having a strategy that lets them capitalize on it and get a treatment to market quickly. Timing, strategy, and execution, all crucial.
Exactly. Okay, get ready for a shifting gears. We're diving into consumer tech. This is where they explore how AI and other technologies will shape the products and services we use every single day.
I'm ready. Always excited to hear about the latest gadgets and gizmos that will be shaping our lives. What do they have in store for us in the consumer tech world?
Well, they kick things off with a pretty cool concept, the AI drummer. Imagine AI that can react to your musical cues in real time, like a jam session where the AI is your bandmate. Okay, so, crypto. Buckle up because these predictions get a little wild. They start off by talking about AI agents becoming more autonomous, and a big part of that is giving AI its own crypto wallet.
Whoa, it's like giving AI its own bank account, right?
Whoa.
And letting it participate in the economy. AI agents buying and selling stuff, investing, maybe even earning income by doing tasks. It's a crazy idea, but it shows you how fast AI is evolving.
Like those trading bots people use on the stock market, but even more advanced.
Hmm.
Instead of just following rules, these AI agents could learn and adapt, making decisions based on real-time data and whatever their goals are.
Yeah, and that brings up some interesting questions, like what happens when AI starts making money and making investment decisions that affect the market? How do we regulate that? Make sure they're playing by the rules. It's a whole new set of challenges we have to think about.
They even suggest we might see the first AI-owned blockchain, like
Sure.
AI creating its own financial system totally separate from humans, and then they take it even further. Decentralized autonomous chatbots, DAX.
Okay, now that's getting really interesting. So not just intelligent chatbots, but ones that are totally autonomous, running on their own without any human control, building their own followings, making money, managing their own assets, all through crypto. It's like they could become virtual influencers or something.
They actually think a D could become the first autonomous billion-dollar entity. Like, it's wild. But they say the tech is already here. The blockchain for transactions and AI for intelligence decision-making. Just got to put it all together.
Mind-blowing. It makes you think, what happens when AI starts creating its own companies and competing with us? Will we see a future where AI is working with us, but also like as equals in the economy?
Definitely something to think about. Shifting gears a bit, they also talk about this growing need for ways to verify online identities. With deepfakes and AI getting so good at creating fake stuff, they call it unique proof of personhood.
That's so important now. It's getting harder to tell what's real and what's fake. We need to know that we're interacting with real people, not some bot or deepfake trying to trick us. It would be chaos if you couldn't tell.
Right. It's like we need a digital fingerprint to prove we're unique. And they talk about making sure this uniqueness can't be faked with what they call Sybil attacks.
Oh, yeah. A Sybil attack is where someone tries to create tons of fake identities to manipulate things, online polls, votes, whatever. So whatever system we use has to be strong enough to stop that.
They also talk about prediction markets. Remember those? Got a lot of attention during the elections, but they see that as just the start of something bigger.
Yeah, those are interesting. Tapping into the wisdom of the crowd, right? Letting people bet on what's going to happen. But what they're really interested in is this idea of decentralized information aggregation.
So, using the blockchain to create better systems for gathering and verifying information, imagine if you could track any piece of information back to its source. See who verified it, how it's been changed over time.
That could really change how we think about trust. Instead of relying on governments or big companies to tell us what's true, we could have this system where trust is spread out. Makes it way harder for anyone to control or mess with information.
And on the topic of trust, they see big things for stablecoins, specifically more businesses using them.
Right, stablecoins are good for businesses because they're pegged to something stable, like the US dollar. So they don't have those crazy price swings that other cryptocurrencies have. Makes them much less risky for everyday transactions.
They even think big companies will start using stablecoins to cut out the traditional payment companies. Could save them a ton of money and streamline things.
It's a bold prediction, but it makes sense with how much momentum stablecoins are getting. We're already seeing companies like Visa and MasterCard trying them out. Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Okay, this next one is pretty macro. They think countries might start issuing government bonds on blockchains.
Wow, that'd be huge. Basically creating a whole new type of digital asset. Imagine buying U.S. Treasury bonds straight from the government, no banks or brokers involved, all managed securely on a blockchain.
They mention the UK is already looking into digital securities. And they say even in the US, where there's been some pushback against crypto, there's growing interest in using blockchains to make financial markets more transparent and efficient.
So even governments are starting to see the potential of this technology. It's slow, but it's happening. As more countries explore this, we could see some big changes in how global finance works.
Remember that Wyoming law we talked about? The one that recognizes DAOs as legal entities? Well, they think we'll see more states adopt that specific framework, the DUNA.
Yeah, the DONA, which stands for Decentralized Unincorporated Nonprofit Association, gives DAOs a way to operate within the law, gives them legitimacy and protection. That's huge if DAOs want to do real business without running into legal problems.
They see it as a model for other states, which could lead to DAOs having a much bigger impact on the economy. Imagine DAOs running venture capital funds, real estate, creative projects, social impact initiatives. The possibilities are pretty big.
It's not just about finance, though, right? It's about changing how we organize and govern ourselves. New models for working together and creating value. More transparent, more democratic.
And speaking of new models for governance, they also talk about using blockchain technology for something called liquid democracy.
Liquid democracy, huh? That's interesting. It's like a mix of direct democracy and representative democracy. People can vote directly or they can delegate their vote to someone they trust to represent them. It's more flexible than just picking someone and hoping they actually vote the way you want.
And they think blockchain could make liquid democracy actually work on a large scale. Secure, transparent voting systems. Imagine being able to easily vote on any issue or letting someone you trust handle it if they know more about that topic.
It could totally change how we make decisions as a society, give people more control over the things that affect their lives.
Now, on a more practical level, they're also seeing a trend toward reusing existing blockchain components instead of starting from scratch all the time.
That just makes sense. There's been a lot of experimentation in crypto, which is good, but now it's time to build on what works.
Like Lego blocks. You don't need to make all new blocks every time. Just use the ones you have to build something new. They think focusing on this reusability will speed up development, lower costs, and lead to better products.
It's a sign that the industry is growing up, getting more serious about delivering real value. And as the tech gets better, we'll see more focus on building applications that solve actual problems for people.
And part of that is making crypto more user-friendly. They say too often it's the tech that dictates the user experience, which makes things complicated and confusing if you're not an expert.
Yeah, that's a classic problem with new technology. Everyone's focused on the cool tech stuff, which is important, but no one thinks about the person actually using it. If crypto wants to go mainstream, it has to be easy for everyone to use.
They use this analogy of hiding the wires, like with email or Spotify. You don't need to know how it all works behind the scenes, you just use it, make the technology invisible.
It's about good design, right? Making it powerful but also easy to use and understand.
And speaking of access, they also predict new app stores specifically for crypto applications, so they can bypass those centralized platforms like the Apple App Store and Google Play.
That's a big deal. Those app stores have a lot of power to control what apps we can use, and they take a big cut of the money. Decentralized app stores would create more competition, give developers more control, and give users more choices.
Yeah, they mention examples like WorldCoin's World App Marketplace and the fee-free dApp Store for Solana. It's about creating a fairer system for developers and giving users more freedom.
It shows you that innovation doesn't always come from the big companies. As crypto grows, we'll see more of these community-driven platforms, creating new opportunities for everyone.
And lastly, They say we need to turn those passive crypto holders into active users. They estimate only like 5–10% of people who own crypto are actually using it regularly.
That's a huge opportunity. We need to make it easier to use crypto and give people real reasons to engage with it. Not just buying and holding. They need to be able to use it for real-world stuff, access new services, participate in the crypto economy.
As the tech gets better, fees go down, and things become more user-friendly, they think we'll see a big jump in adoption and all sorts of new ways to use crypto.
It's a really exciting time to be in this space. So much potential for innovation. I can't wait to see how these predictions play out.
Me too. They even suggest we might start seeing things like biometric data tokenized. Imagine being able to control and profit from your own data in a whole new way.
It's like a future where individuals have more control over their data instead of big companies. Blockchain could be the key to making that happen.
Well, we've covered a lot today. From nuclear energy and robots to AI chatbots and the future of crypto, it's clear that Andreessen Horowitz sees a future where tech is going to keep shaking things up.
It's going to be a wild ride, full of amazing opportunities and some big challenges too. It's important to stay informed and have these conversations about how tech is changing our lives.
Definitely. And if you want to learn more about these predictions, check out the full Big Ideas report on their website. It's got tons of fascinating stuff that will make you think.
This deep dive has been amazing. Really got me thinking about what the future holds.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.